You are now listening to For All Nerds Show, a podcast about geek and pop culture from the perspective of people of color. For All Nerds Show is a member of the Loudspeakers Network, where we always say rest in peace to our founder, Combat Jack.
For All Nerds is hosted by Tatiana King and DJ Ben Hameen.
For All Nerds Show is powered by our listeners. Everything we do, from our podcasts, live events, our website, are all independently funded. Please continue to support us through our Patreon page at patreon.com/forallnerds.
Welcome to the For All Nerds Show. And what's up, y'all, and welcome to another episode of the For All Nerds Show. The voice of the urban geek, the podcast where we discuss geek and pop culture from the perspective of people of color. And as always, in the captain chair, it's your boy, DJ Ben Hameen, a.k.a. the Ghost in the Shell Toe. Doctor Who's mans is this? Master Splinter Cell, Trinidad Bane. Keep that same energy on when you see me. Arsenio Holiday. Reading Rambo, a Wakandan werewolf in London, here in the spaceship.
Yes.
That's my jam. You know that one? An Englishman in New York?
No.
Oh, you don't know that song? That's
No.
a classic. It's a Sting joint, Englishman in New York. And
I would have to hear the real song.
Yeah, that's the real song.
No, I mean, not
yeah.
you humming.
Yeah, I get you. All right, well, anyway, I'm always joined by
Tatiana King, the Grand Duchess of Tech, also known as Flex Luthor, Glorilla Grodd, Scroll Obsidian, Tatiana Kang, the Conqueror, coldest winter soldier ever, Doc, Aki, Dark Chocolate, Phoenix, the Little Mermaid, Trash Ketchum, and the Ting of the North.
just realized neither of us had any real Deadpool related AKAs. I was trying to come up with one real quick, but I didn't. But we didn't have any Deadpool related AKAs. But as you've read by the title now, seen the thumbnail, you already know that this is the full on spoilery full review. Full spoilers. As if there was much plot to spoil of Deadpool and Wolverine, now in theaters. Been out 2 weeks, I think. Made a buku amount of money the first week. Not really sure how it did the second week.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, second week it hammered on something too. It's still number one.
Yeah.
It
came out. This is week 2.
Yeah, and it beat something out for a second week too. So it's still number one.
All right.
Yep.
It says it's heading towards a $1 billion box office by weekend 3.
God damn.
So we're going towards weekend 3.
Yeah,
we knew that.
I just didn't know the billion was coming that quickly.
Yeah, they said right now it's about 850 million.
Yeesh.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Stupid is as stupid does, I guess.
The only thing that that has been beating everything is Inside Out 2. That's already made over $1 billion. So
I still ain't seen that.
That's going crazy. It's amazing. It's amazing. Inside Out 2 is 1.55.
Yeah, I still haven't seen. I honestly don't know if I've seen Inside Out all the way through. I've read it, and I was so blown away by the script that it was one of the things that I saw in my head as I read it, and I think I've seen most of it since then. But I read it. Yeah, once you read it, you don't need to. It's like reading any good script. If it's that good, you see the movie. I
understand the respect on that. I also say to watch it because
I'm going to see the second one.
The animation.
I know, yeah. I'll see the second one because I haven't had a chance to read that. But I've read it and seen enough of the first one where I'm good. I've seen it. I've seen most of the movie. I just haven't seen it all the way through, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What I have seen all the way through is Deadpool and Wolverine. I got to see it early at a screening with a bunch of critics. I think that affected my general first views. Like we said, though, this is the spoiler-filled review. So we're going to talk about everything. If you haven't seen it, you probably want to wait and watch this later because I'm going to go all the way in. When I first came out, my first reaction was this was my favorite of the 3. And I think that was due to me being in a theater full of people who were super hyped. We were all super hyped. It was a good, solid movie overall. The jokes were funny as hell. I still stand by that. I think, the humor is there. I think Ryan Reynolds is pretty much born to play Deadpool, just like Hugh Jackman's born to play Wolverine.
Sure, absolutely.
And the longer I've sat with it and then I got to see it again, and I was like, it's a big bag of nothing. Like, it's Ryan Reynolds even said this earlier. He tweeted this something about like this movie is inconsequential. It means nothing. It's a summer popcorn film, but I feel even on that level, it's like Independence Day 2 and not Independence Day.
Oh, wait, we're not going to disrespect Independence Day. Talking
2.
about it.
I said Independence Day 2.
You can, but Independence Day 2 doesn't even touch the hem of the garment of Independence Day.
No, it doesn't. And I don't feel like this touches the hem of the garment. Like, I feel like this has a lot of like flash and no substance.
Okay. So I will start the same way you started. So I did not go to the screening because I was actually out of town on a family reunion. So when I actually watched it with the general audience. So I actually bought a ticket. I accidentally bought the 3D version of it. I was mad about that because I don't give a fuck about the 3D. And
unnecessary too.
I won't say it really enhanced the experience either. Didn't make it worse, but also didn't enhance it. So if you were thinking about 3D, don't save the money. That said, I didn't go in with critics. I went in with regular people, moms with their kids, a little older type kids, not like little kids, but moms with their kids, families, friends, like literally the entire spectrum of people you could think of. And I think that was interesting because that is a reflection of what it's doing at the box office right now. Mm-hmm. Anybody and anyone, save for your moms that don't like cussing and all that other stuff, anybody wanted to see this. Everybody who was just in any demographic pretty much was interested in this film in some way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. So I took that was one takeaway from that. And then as far as my overall thoughts about it, while I do agree, and I'm glad even Ryan said it, but Ryan's not an idiot, right? He knows what it is, and much like his character, he's gonna break the fourth wall or the fifth wall at this point and say what it is, that I know this movie is just here to pay my mortgage. Mm-hmm. I know it's just literally it's a cameo fest, and that's the only point of it. In terms of being absolutely a bag of nothing, I slightly disagree. I think it's a good sandbox. By sandbox, I mean for people who program, for example, there is a production environment and a sandbox environment. The sandbox environment allows you to test and do pretty much anything with knowing that you're not going to hurt the real system. You're not going to hurt the system that you and I will end up using, right? You can experiment, you can make changes, you can do whatever the fuck you want to do, knowing that you're not going to disrupt, in this case, a sacred timeline, right? You're not going to disrupt anything. You can do what you need to do in order to play around and possibly make something better, right? And I think where I view Deadpool this way as almost a Marvel sandbox where they could also, besides just waste time and make billions, you can also do that to test ideas and to test approaches and to test reactions from the audience as well, to varying degrees of success or failure or what have you. I took it that way, and the reason why is because I felt Deadpool had glimmers of a lot of good ideas, but it was all wrapped in this shit don't matter, this is a joke, so on and so forth.
So you're saying that this is the beta version of a movie?
Basically. I think in a way it's both the real Deadpool movie, because that's what Deadpool is, right? Deadpool's all this random bag of everything and nothing, right? And it could also be a beta testing ground because they were doing shit and saying shit in this movie that they would never do or say in a, quote, mainstream Marvel movie.
I was reading this article about Kanye's latest album, Vultures 2, and they were like, this is how he can fix it, And they're like, Kanye's been, fixing all his albums since, The Life of Pablo.
He keeps fixing it over and over.
And I'm like, and all those albums since The Life of Pablo have been terrible. Like,
but that approach is just, it's an unfinished product that you're constantly iterating while it's still out. You're not in the sandbox. You're in production. You're literally changing the shit that I'm using. I'm on a website and the fucking pictures are moving as I'm trying to click on them. That's not what's necessarily happening here. This is a mutable space that what's happened. And really, I think I had mentioned this. Well, I mentioned to somebody else. I said the movie ended where it started.
Yeah.
There were
Nothing happened.
nothing happened. At the end of the day, nothing happened. Nothing changed. Everything stayed the same. Nothing was real. Other reason just about me calling it a sandbox area is the fact that they threw in so many different characters and calls and Easter eggs and things like that not only would you not necessarily find in other movies, but they knew that if they threw it in other movies, it would fuck up everything else. There's no way you can put Cassandra Nova in the regular fucking timeline and then show her OP in that way and think everything's gonna be good. Like, we complain a lot about when they put in overpowered characters, but then nerf them, right? Cassandra is beyond based on how they portrayed her, Cassandra is beyond a lot of the other different, quote, villains that you've seen. And it's just like, what would stop her? Like, if forget Deadpool, what would generally stop her, right? That's why they came up with this MacGuffin with this machine and the machine destroyed her. Because they couldn't keep her alive.
Yeah, but I have to just argue and say that's just a waste of Cassandra Nova and the character.
I'm not arguing it was a waste. I'm saying that's what they did.
Yeah, and that's why I say. That's why I think where it's like, no, you could have had Cassandra Nova in a movie just like you had. Like, one, for people who don't know the comics, Cassandra Nova is Professor X's evil twin sister, and she is OP'd in the comics as well. She's like unnaturally powerful. It never even really explained how she does the things she does. It's just she just do pretty much whatever she needed to do in an instant.
And that fits Deadpool. Like, this means everything and nothing.
That's what I'm saying. But in the comics, it wasn't everything and nothing. That's why it's like Cassandra doesn't fit Deadpool. You know, Cassandra fits the X-Men and Professor X being there, so there can be this whole battle and a philosophical thing, and it can end in the way that it possibly ended in the comics, where they do use things to defeat her.
In the comics.
And that's what I'm saying.
The way that they've done the MCU thus far, do you think she fits?
Yeah. It's like the same way that like you fit Thanos in with the Infinity Gauntlet. She's not Thanos level powerful, one. You know, she's powerful up to a range of space. She can't like change the universe like Thanos does.
But Thanos does that by way of the stones, not by way of his personal abilities.
What I'm saying is she personally can't do that no matter what. So she's not that powerful. She's powerful to Deadpool because he's Deadpool. You know what I mean? But on a scale of fighting the X-Men with a bunch of other Omega level mutants, it becomes much more of a battle.
It could, but I want to make sure we are comparing MCU version of and what these characters have been shown to do versus another MCU, not what they did in the comic books.
I'm saying what they did in the comic book. But what they showed her to do in this is still the same levels of power that she had in the comic books. It wasn't anything different. It was the same things. She did all that crazy shit you see and crazier. She turns Wolverine to nothing at one point, damn near, like strips his flesh off him. She forms a suit of mech armor around herself out of thin air. She just keeps doing weird shit, and it was unexplained. It was just like whatever she needed at that moment, she just kept doing. But the X-Men do find a way to defeat her. Right. It was like, because it wasn't. That's what I'm saying. So why even? It becomes this thing. It's like, why put these characters in this if you're just going to waste them? You know, if you're just trying to use it as like, oh, fuck Cassandra Nova. You know, and me, honestly, I really don't care either way. Cassandra Nova isn't that big of a villain where it's like, you had to have her, you know, or had to have the arc from the comics. It doesn't matter. My problem more with this movie is the fact that it's just, you don't have to have a summer movie and not have some sense, you know, or not have something taken away from it. Like, I felt like the first Deadpool has a lot of heart to it, has a lot of things to it that this didn't. It was why I hated the second so much. Like, I just vehemently hate the second film because they fridge Vanessa's character.
In
this one, they don't really have Vanessa, but at least he's searching for her and for that relationship, so I like that. And because they have his buddy bromance with Wolverine, it kind of replaces that Vanessa stuff, so that worked for me. But beyond that, nothing. It was a nothing burger.
Well, yeah. And my thing is, while it's not the best Deadpool movie nor the best Marvel movie, like, I thought it was good for what it was. And I think that's why I just give it a pass, because it wasn't purporting itself to be anything than what it was. Which was literally, it was tongue-in-cheek, hey, this is a mortgage movie.
Yeah,
You
but
told me what it was in the beginning, so I expected that you would throw anybody in there and it not matter. Like
well,
I get trying to respect it, and like you said, oh, you're wasting character. I'm like, is it really a waste? That they accomplished what they set out to do?
no, but see, that's the difference. See, then we're going back to why I said there's a famous Michael Caine quote where he talks about Piranha 2, the movie, right? Piranha 2, you already know what we're talking about, you know? And the nigga said, I've never seen it, but I've seen the house that it bought, you know? And so it's like, if you're making Piranha 2 level of entertainment, then all right. And that's why I say this is Piranha 2 level. This ain't even Piranha, which ain't even, high level entertainment. But this is just bad, with a bunch of cameos to make it seem like it's something. But it's like, just because it's a summer movie doesn't mean it has to be stupid and just, like, that's not my problem with this. It's just not.
Did you feel it was stupid then? I'm trying to also understand your sentiment. It's like, in one way, you're just like, okay, some stuff was like, I don't know if you're saying like overall you just thought it was a bad movie or what. Like,
I
what
just
did you
thought
really
it was
feel?
not inconsequential. It's something I saw it was a commercial.
It is a
It was
commercial.
a commercial for toys. I guess
Inconsequential was actually a good word because we literally just said nothing mattered, so that means inconsequential, right?
It's a commercial for me to buy some Marvel Legends if I want something. That's my problem. Like it's not a plot. It's not a movie. And then, like, when you talk about that sandbox shit, that's where it gets back to the whole multiverse thing, right? And they dolled the living life out of the multiverse in the movie, but then they fall prey to the same things about it. So it's just it's one of the things where, like, I don't like things like that when you're like talking shit about something and then you use those same tricks, But it's like, because we talked about it, now we can do it. No, man, you can't do that. You still
not
can't
like that style of comedy too. Like, in a way, you could say they fell.
No.
You could, in one way, on one hand, you could say they fell to the trap of their own, of their own making. But then in another way, you could say they did it on purpose. And
they did it on purpose.
You said you don't like when people do it on purpose because you think they more clever. They feel
like
they're
and you're not more clever.
And you're not that clever.
If you were clever, you would write a better story. You would write a movie that mattered. You can have all these dumb jokes. You can do I'm trying to think of. I mean, most Marvel movies are filled with dumb jokes. Like, let's say Iron Man 3, my favorite. It's filled with dumb jokes. But it's got heart. Tony has an arc. Things happen. Like Iron Man 1, Spider-Man, there's arcs. Like, there is nothing, not a character has an arc in this film. That's really, like.
Do you feel like you wasted your time? Like,
yes.
I'm also wanting to understand, when I say your sentiment, I want to see, how do you feel? Because I feel like, because the things you're saying is beyond what a typical moviegoer would even contemplate. Like, and when I say the things you're saying, you're talking about the art behind it and real reason and intention. And a lot of people don't care about that. They just want to go someplace and be entertained for 2.5 hours or more.
Yeah,
but 2:45.
So, if you're ever going to go back to it again, that's my thing.
Oh, I'm not going back. Like,
well, that's what I'm saying. That's why I say this is Independence Day 2. Because I could have been entertained by Independence Day 2. I'm never going back to it. I don't even think I've seen the whole thing, but you know what I mean?
I walked out on it.
There's
I walked out. I think I got maybe 20, 25 minutes and I said, nah.
I could have walked out on this. You know what I mean? That's how I pretty much feel. Like, especially after the Blade shit, I could have bounced and I'd be like, I would have missed nothing.
No, you wouldn't miss nothing. Yeah. I mean, my thing is just going back to that whole approach of sandbox and like, just literally and making, and instead of the engineer version of sandbox, let's go to the literal version of sandbox. A kid playing around with a bunch of toys.
Yeah, I think that's
doing
insulting.
Shit.
Yeah, this ain't a video game.
And that's okay that you feel that it's insulting, but I mean, that's also how this is taken by a lot of fans. Like, it's literally, now I get all my favorite toys to just do shit. Like, all my wildest dreams that were, wildest jokes, I should say, I can do right here. All the shit that they wouldn't say, all the stupid trolly things that happen on Instagram and Twitter and elsewhere, where they talk about, oh, Fox should have did this, and this character should have did that. Like, literally, all of that stuff got thrown into this movie, and that's why, in the literal sense, I can see this being very enjoyable to a lot of people, because it's just like all the shit I say online is now they're showing it and they're agreeing with me in this.
I think we're missing something here. Is like, I didn't say I didn't enjoy it. I did enjoy it. I was in the theater laughing, cheering, all that. Human Torch shows up. Oh, shit, hilarious. He starts cursing in the Boston accent. Great. I just never want to see it again. You know, my favorite part of the film was the ending when they had that end credit sequence where they was showing all the, that was emotional.
Yeah, that was emotional when they were showing the
Yeah.
old school X-Men and things
Yeah,
like that.
that was emotional. Nothing in this film ever had any emotion. That's what I'm saying. So it's like, that's not like, that's sad to me. You know, like that's where I get into this, like, that's content. That's where I get into this bull. Like we're
This movie was content.
yeah, and that's a problem, fam. Like that's like, you know what I mean? Oh my God. You know, it's like we shouldn't have to suffer like this. You know, like that's what I mean. It doesn't have to be like this. You know, you can have a good ass movie that has an arc, has a story, and it can still be inconsequential. It can still mean nothing to the larger Marvel universe. It can still, tell a billion jokes, have all the cameos in the world. I mean, No Way Home is a cameo
Is there a
fest.
good example of
No Way Home is a cameo fest, and it's still a film. You know,
I don't know if it's a cameo fest. It's a good
pretty
film
bad.
that has cameos.
Watch it at home, and you'll see what I mean. It stops when these niggas walk into the room. Like, every Peter Parker, it gives you 10 seconds to clap. Like, that's bad. Like, that's bad. The movie stops so you can clap. It's a cameo fest. It is. It's right there with this one. Come on, it's based on Tom Holland and them, all these niggas being around.
I won't say this is with Deadpool. I won't say No Way Home or which one or whatever that was is with on the Deadpool level of cameo.
Would you say Doctor Strange is?
I don't know. The reason why I wouldn't say the Spider-Man one is because there's actual if you're going to use your logic, there's actual heart and
that's
reasoning.
What I mean. No, that's what I said.
So I wouldn't put it on that level.
See, that's what I'm saying. You could have a cameo fest, which No Way Home is, and still have heart. That's my difference. No, that's just a cameo fest. Like, it has Jamie Foxx, like it's got everybody in it. It's a cameo fest. I forgot about the villains. I'm not even thinking about the villains. The
other reason why I didn't consider it a cameo fest is because it's a lot of people that show up, but it makes it's really aligned to what's going on in the movie versus in Deadpool, anybody and anything was in that movie.
And that's my point.
I'm not disagreeing with your point.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Like, that's all I'm saying. Like, this is like
trying to give me an example. And
no, there isn't. That's my example. There's a movie versus a cameo fest. They could have made Spider-Man No Way Home into a cameo fest if they hadn't written a somewhat good story. I don't think Spider-Man No Way Home is the best story, but I think it's at least an arc. I think it's still a story. This is not. These niggas didn't give a shit. And that's my problem. I feel like Ryan Reynolds is a very cynical dude at his heart. Because he's the type of person who'll be like, oh, yeah, here you go. Now let me get this billion. Hugh Jackman, kind of the same way. Let me show up and do Logan Light, and get this money. Like,
but they said as much. I think that's the only reason why I'm
that's so wildly
I'm
disrespectful.
less emotionally invested in it because, like, I don't even assign.
I don't care.
I don't assign. But saying disrespect, like, those are emotional terms, and that's okay.
Yeah,
like,
but that's like emotionally.
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah,
I'm just like, I'm detached from it because I'm like, y'all told me what it was from the jump.
Yeah, and see, I don't forgive people for telling me that you're about to do a magic trick. I don't forgive people for telling me you're about to tell a joke. Like, if the joke is bad, it's still a bad joke. Like, oh, I'm about to give you a bad movie.
Okay. I will give you a thing. I'll give you my view of when it comes to Deadpool, what worked and what didn't.
Yep.
Because we both agree that it was still an enjoyable movie, but again, just varying
experience.
Thoughts
I can't
about
call it a movie.
The overall. Okay.
Yeah. It was a
ride
roller
at Disney.
Ride. Yeah, there we go. It's an enjoyable ride through the Marvel universe, through the Fox universe.
What worked for me was, and this is just me plucking different because it is a content movie, a content film, content experience. I'm not even going to talk about story. I'm just going to talk about things that happened or things I saw. So work for me. All the different Wolverines. I loved seeing. I thought that was cool. Seeing all the different multiverse Wolverines and how each one didn't work out or could have worked out, but you know what I mean.
Henry Cavill as Wolverine.
Henry Cavill.
When I watched it again, it's so disgusting.
Henry Cavill Wolverine. I love Henry Cavill. So seeing him in anything, I just like seeing him. So that worked for me. That was fine.
Let me say, I will.
What?
Let's might want to mute Love because just for future references.
What did he do? What did he do?
He did. All right. Well, the thing that everyone knows is that he dated Gina Carano, and you can take everything that you wanted to
God.
that. And he's British and a white man, and he's a big fan of Warhammer 40,000, which is the fastest, supporting game.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else you can, what's the word? Extrapolate from that,
Extrapolate from that.
Extrapolate,
and
from
that's
that.
fine. I still like him as an actor.
See, there we go. There we go.
I still like him as an actor. Okay.
I'm just trying to keep it cool for
Sure,
you,
sure,
Tatiana.
sure.
You
Words mean things. I don't love the
somebody
man.
don't clip
I
this.
don't know the man from a can of beans. Okay. I like him as an actor. I enjoy his work, so on and so forth. So I like seeing him.
I'm surprised he was in this movie. That's all. I'll say that.
It was random.
No, I mean, I was surprised that Marvel put him in this movie.
Why would you be surprised?
Because this nigga is.
There's a lot of niggas like that that have been in multiple movies. What do you mean?
There's only, there's levels. Like when people start eating people and things of that nature, they vanish out of movies. And there's a reason why he stopped being Superman and why he's vanished after that kind of.
He didn't really vanish. He went on to become Geralt, and then that whole situation happened with Geralt of Riviera, and that wasn't his fault. That was a disagreement and approach.
And then they also moved on.
Okay. What else? What else worked with Deadpool? One of the things that mattered to me, Blade was cool. Like obviously seeing Wesley Snipes was real cool. What? Why are you saying what for? Because I'm not screaming. Oh my God, I'm crying. I thought it was cool. Like it was cool
I love
to see him.
Blade.
Great.
That was like great. That's what worked for me. Like you want to talk something about work?
Okay, all right. I'm gonna let you talk about that then, since that mattered. That was a big bullet point for you. I thought all that shit was cool. For what was a bullet point for me? What was the bullet point for me? Even though it was on the pretense of a joke, was Gambit. Now. The reason why it was a big bullet point for me is because Gambit is one of my favorites. He's my top 5 when it comes to just Marvel characters. He's always been since I was a kid. So I was part of that group of people dying, crying, carrying on for year after year, talking about why you not putting Gambit in the X-Men films. Why you not putting Gambit anywhere in the film, period. A good version, live action version of Gambit. Because
he's in one of them, right?
Yeah.
He gets killed.
And he looks like fucking Clockwork Orange. I'm good. So.
Wait, what's his name played him? I liked him in that one scene. Yeah, he just never put the suit on.
Nah, I wanted to fucking see Gambit, okay? For real. So even though, again, this is wrapped in the pretense of a joke, and I understand that it's also tongue-in-cheek, I loved seeing comic book accurate Gambit. That did it for me. I love just forget everything else that went on, just the way he looked. I actually liked seeing that finally real life on screen, number 1. Number 2, I like seeing, because this was his dream, Channing Tatum. This is his dream for 10 plus years to be Gambit. Now, whether or not he's actually going to ever be Gambit ever again in MCU, probably never not. No. But the fact that he got his wish and it actually fucking happened, kudos to you. I'm glad that he got to do it. Again, it was a joke, but I was crying and so happy with how they did the whole thing with the accent, because that was real. That was like on some. Like even when they made the joke about the dialect coach and stuff like that, I thought that was hilarious, because that was actually one of the things that people would always say about Channing. It was like Channing can't do, because Channing would do things like I think he back in the day he would do like a couple like doing the voice, and people would talk about how his dialect sucks at trying to be a Cajun man. And then to kind of bring that to the movie, I thought that shit was great. All the jokes aside, they actually showed his power set very fucking good. And this is why it takes me back to the engineer version of why I call this a sandbox. They also kind of say, hey, you can, if you've been having problems showing how Gambit moves, his power set, shit like that. Here's an example of how to do it and do it well. All the jokes aside, he actually looked good fucking fighting. He actually looked good with, charging up the cards and blowing up niggas. The nigga, even though it was Deadpool type violence and it was like cartoonish, he still looked good. Like the effects, everything looked like, okay, this could actually go somewhere if y'all took this serious. And that's what, for me, it was. It was just like, if y'all took this shit seriously, y'all may have something in your hands. But this is Deadpool, and this was all a joke anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was cool. I don't disagree. I thought it was great that Channing finally got to do it. I thought he looked personally just a little weird to me in the suit. I thought the suit looked good.
Big.
Yeah, because he's big, and Gambit should be slim, and that was my.
But
and Channing got the round face, so it just don't work. Gambit needs that super slim, like You know,
But
especially in
like
that mask.
really, that's being really
Yeah.
nitpicky. But again,
No, I know.
it works in this movie, right?
Yeah, no, it works in
So,
this movie because everybody look ridiculous. Blade looks ridiculous. Elektra
yeah.
look ultra ridiculous.
Yeah, I
All
mean
three of them
they're
look.
all old, and it's just like,
Yeah,
all
they
right,
all past
but
their
it worked
prime.
because y'all was in fucking Alliance land, right? You was in
Yeah.
Void. So, what else worked with this film?
I wanted to say though, I still think that I think that idea that this is like that sandbox idea is giving it too much credit. Like X-Men 97 is right there. We've all seen how to do Gambit. It's animation can translate to live action. So it's like that's no excuse for this. It looked good, yeah, but again, it goes back to that. Give me a movie with it.
What else worked well with this movie? I mean, those were the.
Damn,
I mean, the
nigga,
stuff I said
you
was
ran out quick.
Well, when I say, and I don't mean everything else was. And
No, I know what you
by
mean,
that, I don't
yeah.
mean everything else was trash. I just mean like the stuff that really stood out to me.
I loved Chris Evans as Human Torch.
Oh
Like,
yeah. Chris
yeah,
Evans as
and the
Torch was
flip-
funny.
Yeah, because
That was
I was
cool.
hoping for Human Torch, and so when he actually turned into Human Torch, I thought that was great because I
Yeah.
thought that Fantastic Four, those two movies are underrated to me, and I
Yeah.
thought he was definitely so great as Human Torch.
Yeah.
So
I love Leslie Elgins in this as Blind Owl. I always liked her, and also because she's a more legendary Black woman. I just like seeing her
Mhm.
in the mix and getting her bag. So
I like seeing her doing a commercial. That was what I was very hyped for when I saw her getting a check. Like I was like, yes.
Right. I like
She was
seeing
like on
Laura. I
Subway.
like seeing X-23 again. I like seeing the grown up version of her.
Yep.
More grown version. Let me not say
Yep.
grown up, but more grown.
Yeah.
And that idea that all the characters, the general idea that all the characters that MCU abandoned or Fox and all this other stuff, they're just sitting in the fucking void. Because that's also what they were saying. Like,
Mhm.
if you want to get an explanation of, well, what happened to this and what happened to this version of Quicksilver, they're in the void.
Mhm.
Or they probably got ate by a lion. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, at least you give a more canon explanation for what the fuck happened and why people changed and so on and so forth, besides the multiverse, right? So I like that. Otherwise, there were things that, again, otherwise the movie was fine. But I also think there were stuff that really did not work for me. And this is just this Deadpool level type humor and stuff like that. I don't like gratuitous like nastiness and gratuitous, and I won't say gratuitous violence. I watch gratuitous violence all the time. I don't like gratuitous like disgusting things happening. So there was lots of that shit. The dog looking in the mouth and
Yeah.
I'm gonna stab you in the ass and the asshole, all that
The constant
stuff and then the
pegging
balls.
references. It just
Constant what?
pegging. Like
it
just like that was great in the first movie when Vanessa pegged his ass. I thought that was amazing because it showed sexual diversity, a lot of things we don't see on film. But then when the TVA rolls up on him and he's like, all right, let's take it down the hallway because I want to peg you. It's just like
it comes off, and I don't mean to sound elitist when I say this, but the consistent lowbrow humor. It's okay to have lowbrow humor when done right, because that's what all Deadpool films have done. But it's like when it's just you're just doing it for fuck's sake.
Yeah, you're doing it because you're Marvel now, and so it's like let's be as extreme as possible, and that's why
like
got
I'm
corny.
like, okay, you're not doing it because you have an intention or a reason. You're just doing it because you can, I guess. And I wasn't really jacking that. I didn't care about the 5011 Deadpools. I mean, maybe because I go to Comic Con.
Could have been done better.
New York Comic Con every year, and I literally see that every fucking year in real life. So maybe I just was like, okay, whatever. And yes, it could have been done better.
I wish they'd given them all time. Like at least just a second or two.
Main ones time.
Yeah, like because like Matthew
They did,
McConaughey
technically.
was the cowboy, and I didn't. It's
He
like
was?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like there was
Well,
a
you weren't
bunch of
supposed to
people in
know
those
that.
suits. Yeah. What's Blake? Whatever
Blake
his
Lively,
wife.
she was
yeah.
Ladypool, right?
Yeah, but Matthew, somebody
wife.
was the little head, and they didn't give you enough with them. Like I would have, given me a Matthew moment, just a second even.
All right. Like if you said all right.
If you just hit that for me, it would have been dumb, but it would have been, it would have been perfect for this too.
Yeah. What did I say? Like the gratuitous.
He did it in a cowboy accent too. That would have been hilarious.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Gratuitous stupidity. The murderous gang of Deadpools didn't work for me. I didn't care about that. And of course, just the idea that it wasn't even really a story. It was just.
I loved
We're doing
what do you
things.
call it though?
What?
Gladpool.
Oh, Happy Pool or whatever. Yeah.
Yo, I
Deadpool.
fucking when he gets shot and he's like, so when do you regenerate?
He's like, What's that?
Regenerate. Spitting out blood. Oh my
Yeah. That was cool.
No,
That was funny. That was funny.
And then he uses him as a shield again after that. Like,
yeah. And it's kind of like the movie. It's interesting as I'm thinking about it. The movie. The other reason why the movie doesn't matter because it canceled itself out.
Yeah.
Like for every clever joke, imposition, Easter egg, whatever, they came with its counter, its mirror image of stupidity. For every good joke, there was a dumbass lowbrow joke that was said 50 times. For every good cameo that actually made sense, there was someone there like, why the fuck are you here? Why the fuck is Juggernaut there besides to say he needed his helmet? Like,
oh God.
What was the point?
Yeah,
and then they showed other random, like, what's him? Kurt Wagner's cousin, the red one.
Aziel.
Yeah, like, okay.
I don't know.
And they didn't even use him like that. Like, don't put Aziel on the screen and don't really use him like that. Like, that's a character, like, I want to see when they bamf and do that shit. Like, come on. Like, okay.
They could have Darwin up in there. That would have been great.
Right, if you wanted to, right. And that's what I'm saying. If you wanted to have a clever cameo, put Darwin in that bitch.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about Fox, want to talk about Fox, that means you are listening to us. You're listening to the regular people. That means because to me, they've pulled a lot of tweets and trolls and things that's come from the internet. So if you know that means you are very well versed and very deep into what the internet and streets are saying. So you know about how we feel about, at least black people, how we feel about Darwin. You understand? So that's just you just aligning more with my point that it was like for every good point they had counterpoint and it canceled itself out. They balanced their own fucking equation and blipped themselves out of existence. That's what this movie was to me because I had a great time and there was stuff I was like, whatever, canceled out and I'll never see the film again.
Yeah, and that's my feeling. Like, that's what I'm saying. I think we both pretty much had the same consensus on the movie. I had a great time. I don't want people to think that because, like, when he pulls Happy Pool up again as a shield, I'm crying. When Johnny Storm gets his skin ripped off him. I'm crying, at the whole Blade. And, I know it wasn't that big to you, but it was bigger for me because, Blade is one of them definitive films. And
Blade
Wesley is
the
Blade.
definitive film.
Yeah,
Blade is the father of Marvel. Let's be clear of the MCU. It's not that it wasn't a big deal to me. I'm just talking about things that were major highlights for me. I thought that was great, but I'm not going to, I wasn't crying, screaming about it. So
okay, well, yeah, that was the moment for me. And then him turning to the camera and saying, there's only one Blade, ain't going to be no other Blade.
Yeah.
Was,
and then Deadpool looking to the camera
and
I'm looking at you, Mahershala.
Yeah, and it's looking more likely because that
shit is dead. Blade is vaporware. The new Blade movie is vaporware. It does not fucking exist and will not exist.
Because what's wild is I saw the film before San Diego Comic-Con, and then at San Diego Comic-Con when they announced the next 2 years, there was no mention of Blade, and Blade's supposed to be out next year. So.
It wasn't even on the timeline. And as we've seen from reports every, quarter, so-and-so dropped out. There's a new writer. So-and-so dropped out. There's a new director. Like, there's no way y'all are Tekken juggling all of these different important roles and people, cast and crew, for you to say, oh, it's just still coming out. No, it's not happening. It is what it is.
The thing is, most films go through this type of thing, or not most, but a lot of them go through. No, there we go. There's the big difference. But like most films go through, directors hopping on and off. Well, especially in pre-production, stars.
Schedules.
Yeah, niggas, and then it's like niggas fall in love with the movie, then they fall in love with someone else, and so like they got to jump on that. So like, but publicly
is a different story. And that's why I'm like, it's like someone's self-sabotaging because somebody just don't want this shit to happen. For us to know so much.
It's also though that Marvel does so much publicly. That's the difference between them and other studios. Like, especially like they've changed their tone now. Like at FCCC, they just did the next 2 years, real tight. But before you knew 7 years of their movies. So that's different, like another studio doesn't have that problem. They're not like, 4 years from now, we got this coming out. Oh, fuck, the director changed, like that was the difference. So Marvel is in a real unique and weird position because of that. So, so Blade could still happen.
Right.
Do I think it is? Doubtful.
And I think the other reason why,
especially with Mahershala,
I didn't have such a more outsized reaction to seeing Elektra and Blade and all that stuff, it was because of the leaks. That
Oh,
shit was because remember I didn't see it until like a week
oh
after the
yeah,
fact.
damn, you were fucked.
So even though people didn't leak the story because let's face it, there was no story. I saw a lot of this stuff, like literally almost the entire Gambit fight I saw on Twitter.
Oh damn, yeah.
So,
See,
like I saw a lot of stuff, so I knew, but I still felt, more emotional.
yeah, because for that, like me, all of this was hope for me because I didn't know shit, and so I was hoping for Gambit, and I don't even think I was thinking about Blade, honestly.
I wasn't thinking about nobody, to be honest.
I wasn't thinking about Blade because I know the behind the scenes of how much Ryan and Wesley did not get along on that film. So
on the third one, Trinity.
Yeah, on Trinity. So I did not, that was like, ain't no fucking way this dude's showing up for this. And I didn't think, Ryan would ask him to.
But after all these years, I think that's everything. After all these years, unless Ryan was really in his ass being like a dickhead.
Ryan was in his ass and Wesley was on his shit. Because from what I know, Wesley was going around saying, tell that cracker to come to set.
Well, I think that's also just Wesley. I just think that's his personality.
So you think he just calls every white person a cracker?
And also, let's be fucking for real.
Doubt it.
Let's be fucking real. A bag will change things.
I
can get along with my worst op in the world if you're paying me to do it.
Yeah. And
that's
Wesley
okay.
Got bag needs, so there we go.
Right.
Yeah, so it being a complete shock for Wesley Snipes to walk on screen. That's why for me it was such a big moment.
I knew.
Yeah, and then you knew the Blade line too, and like that's a big shock.
Saying, now it was good to make the connection because I didn't know why they were saying it. So when it happened in the movie, I was all right, cool. But I knew Blade was there.
Yeah, see that's what I'm saying. So
I knew Blade was there. I knew Gambit was there. I did not know about Elektra.
I didn't care.
I didn't. This had nothing to do with caring or not.
I know,
right?
I know. I'm just telling you, like, for me not knowing and her walking on screen, I was like, oh, okay.
But I was like, cool. I was like, all right. She knows how to swing the fork.
Yeah, not really, but
But not really. But
who was the white? There was one. Okay, I want to know what the reaction was.
I was happy about X-23. I really was happy to see Laura.
Oh, I mean, come on.
That excited me to see her.
You already know how I feel about my, like Daphne King is like,
I was
like with
Jackie.
my heart.
I was saying Jackie.
Yeah, like I protect her. That's Jackie. That's Laura. That's what's
the thing that movie you keep talking about.
Yeah. What? Oh God, how can I not remember her name in the film because the little boy how he says it. I can't remember, but yeah, that's my girl for life. Yeah, I love her in every role she's ever done. I've always loved her.
Yeah. Did you like? Oh, what's her face from Loki? Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Mumi Masako.
I'm happy she got a bag.
I thought it was again strange placement, but I'm like, fuck it, you got some money.
Get a bag.
Black woman getting money, great.
Go ahead.
Strange.
This is my question. What was the reaction to Wolverine putting on the mask in your theater? Because that was the first time I was kind of like, Okay. It wasn't the full on rah that everything else got.
I'll answer that question, and I will also add on another comment to it. So there wasn't really a reaction at all. And again, remember, I was there with regular deckers. I went in 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Regular deckers, probably people, with the exception of maybe the younger ones, people who don't care about Marvel Comics or really all the films like that. They just went along because it is what it is. So it wasn't much of a reaction. If there was, it was like 2 people, right? It was a full theater, but when I say reaction, I mean like audible, someone's like gasping and screaming and all carrying on. None of that happened. What happened to yours?
No, and I think you explained it so perfectly because that's a moment that only fucking matters to nerds. Because like the majority of people have never given a shit that he hasn't worn this yellow and blue costume in the movies. Yeah. Most people do not care. That is only like my favorite moment for the whole thing was seeing the burn costume, the brown and yellow. Yeah. Because that's like Wolverine to me. The yellow and blue is always like some goofy shit.
It's funny that you said nerds because when I saw the costume, I was like, oh, I did. I said it quietly to myself. I said, oh, when he put on the mask, like it matters. I'm a nerd, so it matters to me. Yeah, well, like every other moment in my theater was a scream. Like every different Wolverine multiverse, people screaming, brown suit screaming, Apocalypse, Age of Apocalypse, but
one
you
hand
went
screaming.
With fans. Huh? They were critics, but fan critics.
But then that was the funny thing. When he put on the mask, it was like, huh.
Well, and that leads me to the comment that I wanted to say. I thought the construction of that mask and costume was a little off to me.
Yes, there you go. It's
it
the
gave
mask.
me more Hawkman than
And they weren't big enough, right?
The proportion. I don't know what it wasn't big enough, or its angle was weird. It was giving. It was giving Hawkman, and it was giving.
God damn, not Hawkman.
It wasn't giving what I know from X-Men, the animated series. Like, you know what? It wasn't. Maybe it wasn't enough curve in the.
I think because they're larger. You know, especially in the comics, they always be drawing them. You know, outrageous.
It gave Speed Skater fit with wings. That's what I got. So. I was like, oh, when you put it on. But then when I was looking at it, I was like, huh, that looks kind of funny.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird. It wasn't horrible, but I was just like, this don't look quite right.
No, it's that first iteration, like most other costumes. You know, the first time they do it, it's like, okay.
Like, maybe
I see what you were trying to do.
And more
but this don't really work as well as you thought it did. Like, that's the thing, because when you make the mask, you're like, okay, and then you put it on screen and start shooting from different angles. Yeah. And it's like, damn, we could have done this, we could have done that. And so, I'll forgive them for that. But that was like the one reaction. And I think also the eyes being whited out throws it off a bit.
The eyes being whited out was because it was weird, especially
because you're used to see Hugh's eyes all movie, and then suddenly you're seeing
nothing.
Deadpool eyes.
And that's that was jarring. That was jarring on an Uncanny Valley type shit, because it was just like, who is that now? Yeah. Like, even though it's the same guy, it was on some Clark Kent shit. Like, well, who the fuck is that? Right? Like, he just put on some glasses and he's
that ain't Superman. Right? Nah, you
right. But no, I'm happy you mentioned that. I did find that on top of the shaping and all that stuff, I did find the white out eyes weird. In the comics, in the cartoon, yes, but we've never seen that. So to see that and then juxtaposed next to Deadpool's white eyes, and I'm like, you pupilless fucks are just fucking each other. It was.
And it's like strange. Anybody who, and then it's like we're used to. I'm trying to think what heroes in the MCU wear Captain America. You know, Captain America has a mask and you see his eyes. So it's like, why would I not see Wolverine's eyes suddenly?
Right. So it was giving weird, but I just gave it a pass. I was like, whatever. Yeah, whatever. Like anything else in this film, like, whatever. It is what it is.
The second time I saw it, I had to say it didn't bug me as much. So it's like, I think it's the first time it's like, what the fuck?
And the second time I was like, for a nerd, like,
okay, whatever.
It's jarring.
Yeah. So, like we said, I think that's pretty much all we can say about this film. You know,
is there like nobody else? You already said it earlier about the first set of mid-credit cameos, not cameos, but scene where they were showing all the old reels.
So
I love the behind the scenes. I will say that, and the first thing I said was, "Oh my God, they're so young!"
Mm-hmm.
Like when you saw young Hugh Jackman, like you see, like these people were technically babies when all this stuff was just coming ahead and going together. So I thought that was nice.
Mm-hmm.
That was sentimental. I was like, oh, it was worth the wait.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah,
that was great.
I knew about the jabs at 20th Century Fox, so it was just like, it was like I expected a lot, and perhaps that's why I feel the way. I already expected this.
And for me, all those jabs, like that's that whole thing. It's like when people talk about, oh, why they couldn't put him in the suit. No, nigga, they couldn't put him in the suit back then because nobody would have bought this shit. You know, it's like it takes time. It takes things, and maybe they could have. Who knows? But
why do you think they wore all black? Because they thought the suits, comic book accurate suits look stupid. I'm talking about like the old X-Men films. They put them in black fucking leather. Now I forgot which film it was where they made a joke. Like, what do you think I would wear? Black leather? Like, like, cause you know what I mean? Like,
and it's the Matrix. They were coming off the Matrix, which made all the money. Time. So they were, it's a different time. It's like I get it. And who cares? Those movies are still pretty good, or they're pretty bad. It ain't the suits that changes that.
You know that's who, I'm like, how the fuck? He reminds me of Kristen Cole. How the fuck does he make every fucking movie Toad? Toad will not fucking die.
And I don't think that's that same nigga either.
I don't care. Yeah. Why is that him? Him as a character. He's always around.
I don't know. Niggas
He's been in the old ass, different man or not, he's been in the old ass X-Men movies. He gets in the middle range of X-Men movie, and now here he is again.
Yeah. I don't know. Niggas love him some Toad. I think it's that disgustingness of it that people like, whatever.
Seeing Negasonic Teenage Warhead, I just like her. So, or them.
I mean, sure, but see that goes back to my like, goddamn, y'all played
like y'all wasted it.
Yeah, it's
Negasonic.
Like, you can't show me Vanessa and Negasonic and give them one line. And my man Louis Tan don't even. Louis Tan even speak.
But Ben, I was crying laughing because when I seen him and I saw that red wig he had on, I said, Rufio?
And this nigga don't even get to speak. You dress this nigga up looking like an idiot and you don't even let him talk.
I did the Leonardo DiCaprio meme. I said, that's Lewis. I started laughing.
Pure disrespect, yo. They killed him off in the last film and then bring him back and don't even let him speak.
We also, many years ago, well, not many, but years ago, we interviewed Louis Tan. So
yeah,
make sure y'all look for that. But you got to see Colossus.
No. All this is like, no.
Stand around.
Yeah. I know. All right, we done here. Because all this is just making me more disgusted. Because the fact that you showed me Vanessa and Negasonic, two of my favorite people from these films, and gave me nothing with them was, completely disrespect.
Yeah.
Negasonic goes back to the first one, doesn't she?
Negasonic was in the second Deadpool, you mean?
I thought she was in the first one.
Because
that's when they couldn't afford nobody. Because that's when he makes the joke. Like, that's why she's in it. Because they couldn't
Was she in the very first one?
Yeah, that's how far she goes back. Yeah, because in the second one, it's all cable. Remember, they eliminate, they forget about everybody from the first one. So, it's the first one. Because it's Colossus and her.
You're right, because they were talking about superhero landings and other stuff.
Yeah,
and that's Yukio she's with. Negasonic with Yukio.
Yep, yeah.
It's Yukio, okay. Overall, how would you...
That's Yukio in the... in the comics, Yukio dates Storm.
Oh, but in the movie where Negasonic first showed up, she was with Yukio.
Yeah, well,
so I thought that was her again.
I didn't realize that was Yukio. I didn't realize they used that name, because Yukio's much older in the comics. She's a wild Japanese girl, but she's the one who turns Storm out, basically. Like Storm meets her and then comes back with the mohawk. Right.
And I see that she was in the Wolverine movies. Again, I don't know if that's the same person, but this time around, or the same character even, but she was with her in the beginning.
Yukio is in those movies. Yeah,
right. She is, but I don't know if that's the same person now.
So why the fuck when did she meet Negasonic?
I don't know. I'm just...
Wait a minute.
I don't know.
Because she was in Japan in the Wolverine movie. All right, whatever. Yeah. Cool, they dating now. It's like Black Panther and Storm. Like, let's throw our two Japanese characters together, what the fuck?
I really want to know now.
I do too.
In the first one?
Because
I thought she was in the second one, my guy.
No, because Yukio is the woman who tells Wolverine that he's going to die with her heart.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. You're right. You're 100% right. I see.
With her heart in her hand, with his heart in his hands. He's the one. She's the one who says that great line that eventually, when he dies, holding Laura, he's holding his heart in his hands.
Yeah.
So when the fuck do they meet?
I could be. She was there in the first film. So
Yukio's in the first Deadpool or in the first Wolverine?
Deadpool, not Wolverine.
She is?
I'm looking at her standing right next to Negasonic. Whether it's the first or second, I don't fucking know. My point is Yukio standing next to Negasonic.
And that's not
in
from
a
this
Deadpool movie. And I don't know, I don't know who this other little girl is in Wolverine. In this, not Deadpool. Let me back up because you're confusing.
Yeah.
And this latest one that we just saw a few days ago, I don't know who that little girl is. I just assumed she was.
Oh, so we're not even sure if that was Yukio in that scene.
We're not sure.
Okay, but Yukio was in the first Deadpool.
Correct.
All right, who cares?
Okay, Ben, so what do you rate this?
Oh, God, I can't rate this.
What do you rate this? Let's give a letter grade. Deadpool and Wolverine. Is this what we're calling this?
Yeah.
Deadpool versus Wolverine. Deadpool.
Is that on Rotten Tomatoes? What do we do on Rotten Tomatoes since we are now officially Rotten Tomatoes?
We are Rotten Tomatoes approved.
What don't they go 5 or no?
No, it's really just, do you give it a splat or do you give it a tomato? Splat means you fucking hated it. Tomato it was fresh. That's what it is. But then it's really just yes or no. But then you flesh it out with your explanation, right? Because you could give somebody a tomato, but then be like, well, there's some things I ain't really fuck with, and that's why I say
no.
Wow. Okay, that's why I wanted to do letter grades to give it some nuance.
I know. So let me give it some nuance and say it's a C+. B-. B-.
Speaking of Rotten Tomatoes,
C+ for a summer.
Speaking of Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 79% critic review and a 96% audience review.
I believe that. I'd say about 79%. C+. Yep. Yeah.
Again, whether or not I'm giving them too much credit, I still think it was a good place to experiment things. But it also was not a true film. It was a TikTok.
Yeah, because it's not even a commercial. It's just like
it's a TikTok,
Yeah.
and from
it's
that,
pointless.
I think it's anywhere between a C+ and a B-,
Yeah.
depending on if you're talking about the first half or the last half of the film. Because that's one thing I forgot to say. I did fall asleep at one point.
Oh goddamn, nigga, no!
And you want to know when I fell asleep?
Do
you know when I fell asleep?
Oh goddamn!
Do you know when I fell asleep? And when I say fell asleep, I don't mean like all the way asleep. I meant like dozed a little bit.
Yeah, you were doing them like.
And it was brief because I was like this the whole film.
Yeah.
When Wolverine was talking to Laura, I dozed a little.
To Laura?
Yeah.
When they did Logan Light?
Low campfire.
Yeah, I would have fell asleep at that bullshit too.
Because it was just like stuff happening, talking, and this like forced trying to be emotional interaction.
Yeah, I know.
Then more bullshit. So I was just like, I literally just started dozing because I was like, this is boring. But
you did that. Yeah,
I did
no. Yeah. Oh shit! I'm in a movie theater. Yeah.
But yeah, I would give it C-, B+.
C-. Yeah, no, you can't give it B+. If it dozed you, you got to keep that C+.
It didn't doze me. It was literally that 1 minute scene. But
C+.
Yeah, it was there. Would I recommend it if you want to watch some shit that has no bearing on the rest of the MCU? Have a blast. If you want to go there and like have something smart and something that gives you pause and thought and things like that, this is not the film for you.
No. Would I recommend it? I would say out of every summer movie I'd seen this year, it's still the probably lowest on my list. I haven't seen Twisters, and I feel like Twisters would be a better use of your time.
Oh, damn.
I mean, I think Twisters is probably entertaining. You know what I mean?
But you haven't even seen it yet, and it could be something they could be on their bullshit like Independence Day too. We don't know this yet. Ain't nothing touching. You are not touching the hem of the garment of Twister. We're not doing that. Not yet.
I know. No, you're not. Twister's great. But, like Furiosa is definitely, leagues above this shit, so.
You can't even compare.
No, you can't even compare. You can't even compare.
That's SAT level words versus,
elementary.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Yeah.
Like, no.
I think that's our review of Deadpool and Wolverine. Thank you, as always, to everybody listening out there. Make sure you're following us on all those various social medias. I'm at DJ Ben. That's Tatiana King. You can follow at For All Nerds on everything out there. You can also hit us up on patreon.com/For All Nerds, where you can contribute to the mission. Thanks. We got some new patrons lately. Thank you to everybody who's been giving it. Every dollar helps. It's just like they used to say, a cup of coffee a day will help the For All Nerds mission. So, you know what I mean? Head over to patreon.com/ForAllNerds. Look, I ain't.
Keep going.
I ain't got no. You know what I mean? I know I got a book coming out, but them checks is gone. On that note, though, as you see by my beautiful t-shirt and behind me, let me just pick this up and bring it up so you can see it right here. In stores, in comic book stores next week, allegedly.
Whoa.
Look, I don't know anymore. This whole publishing, having a book published for me is all brand new to me, and I really don't understand how it works. But allegedly, right now, we're recording this on August 7th, and from what I understand, August 14th, if you pre-order from a comic book shop, it will be in shops August 14th. So you can head out there next week and get your copy. If you ordered from like Amazon or a big bookstore, the big real, like grand release date is still August 27th. We're still doing a signing at Anyone Comics. The night of August 27th is going to be lit. Tatiana going to be there. Yep. All kind of motherfuckers going to be there. I mean, the list is growing every day. It's going to be popping. So August 27th, come out and celebrate it. Anyone Comics with me. I've got a copy in my hands. It's absolutely beautiful. Shout out to BJ at Comics Are Dope. I did an interview with them last night. They loved it. They're one of the first people to read it, and they were really praising it. So I'm really hyped and really happy that people are getting it. Hardcovers went out to review people now. So if you would like to review it, hit me up, and I'll see what I can do about getting you a copy.
Nice.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, and Make sure you're subscribed, following us on all the platforms. We said For All Nerds, so on all socials, FORALLNERDS. Make sure you are subscribed to us on YouTube, youtube.com/ForAllNerdsTV. Patreon. We said Patreon, patreon.com/ForAllNerds, where actually patrons, you're going to be getting your own special episodes soon. Be on the lookout for that. And if you want to join that family and get all the secret stuff and first dibs on a lot of things we have, you got to join the Patreon, okay? And as always, we love, appreciate, we listen to you. Sometimes we don't if you say something stupid. But we do encourage the discourse, especially if you're keeping it cute and keeping it respectful, because we want to hear a difference of opinion. Never want to be an echo chamber here. So make sure you are leaving your comments down below, whether you're watching us, listening to us. Make sure that you are joining us also on our live streams as well, right? And as usual, please share, like, subscribe, rate. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Press that play button. Even if you got to leave the room for a second, I don't care. Press the button. We need the play. We need the views. We appreciate you. So thank you, everybody. This has been our review of Deadpool and Wolverine.
Deuces. Just like Wolverine told Deadpool at the end of that, probably won't see me again.
Hey, what's up, internets and the fan fam? This is Tatiana King for All Nerds, and I want to thank you so much for listening and watching the For All Nerds. Make sure you like and subscribe to us only on YouTube.